Hey there, welcome back to another commentary, and this one is definitely going to be a ranting commentary because I'm going to be doing a live commentary on RoboCop 3, a film that I will admit is technically the first film that introduced me to the character of RoboCop, which is my favorite fictional character of all time. So I have a bit of a soft spot for the film because of that fact. And I did watch it quite a bit as a kid, so I definitely do have a little of nostalgia for the movie. But I still really don't like this film. Like, I think this film sucks ass. I like to call it Robo Flop 3 because the film was not only a flop financially and critically upon its release, but it was also a flop in so many different areas. But before I start this commentary and I start the ranting, I want to give a shout out to Vontae for requesting this commentary. And if there's another commentary, film review, TV show review, or discussion of a topic that you would like to see me cover in the future, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description down below, and I'll try to get to it as soon as I possibly can. Now, I'm going to do a similar thing that I've done in the past when it comes to these commentaries. I'm going to do a bit of a countdown, and then as soon as I'm done, actually, as soon as I say pressing play, then press play on whatever form of media you are using to watch this film. And everything should hopefully sync up. And yeah, let's start the cringe, shall we? I am getting ready. Okay, I got everything set up now. So 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So if you're synced up, you should have the MGM lion roaring. Sounds normal this time. No, none of that nonsense like the RoboCop remake. Here we have the Orion logo. Orion is the company that produced the first two films, and they're a big reason why this film sucks so much. Because they did not want to wait for this film to get shot. They started shooting this film directly after they finished shooting RoboCop 2. They're also a big reason why Peter Weller did not come back, because they were not willing to wait for him to be available. And they're also the reason this is PG-13, because they thought that the only reason why kids at the time liked RoboCop was because they thought RoboCop was some kind of cartoon superhero along the lines of like the Ninja Turtles or something. Not because of the violence. And as you could see by that advertisement for Delta City, already the tone is off. Already the vibe is off. I mean, that was one of their attempts at satire, and that wasn't even funny. And then you have this, which is the buyout of OCP by this Japanese company. And I find it ironic because OCP during this film is very representative of Orion, because they were so bad when it comes to their financial status. I mean, this film, despite how desperate they were, and they finished shooting it in 1991, it was held back from release for 2 years. Here we have the rehabs. I like the rehabs. I think it's a good idea. I think the execution sucks. Then you have John Castle here as McDaggett, who I like to call evil Steve Martin. I mean, because look at the fucking guy. He's 100% evil Steve Martin. And what makes that whole character and that whole performance even more frustrating is because it could have been avoided. The casting call, or the casting process for this character, McDaggett, was between Castle, who looks like evil Steve Martin, and hadn't really done a whole lot prior to doing this movie, other than some TV work. And Tom Atkins. Yes, you heard that right. Tom Atkins. You know, from Night of the Creeps and Halloween 3. He was in the running. He was the other guy competing with John Castle. And Tom Atkins lost to evil Steve Martin. Here you have like the room that Nico has, and they showed a RoboCop toy and a 209, which I find to be kind of jarring, because prior to this film, there was never any instance that this world was aware of, you know, RoboCop and Ed 209 when it comes to like merchandising. But I guess it kind of makes sense. It's like a little nitpick, but when I think about it, it kind of makes sense. This, on the other hand, just and what the hell is this? You have the I buy that for $1 bit, but it's out of context. After you have this screaming wrecking ball. It's about as subtle as a wrecking ball. And there's no pun intended there. Here, with this whole scene with the rehabs, this is something that really shows the weakness of the fact that this is PG-13. Yeah, the 3 is for PG-13, and for 3 times as awful than you might have expected it to be going in. Yeah, see, there's something there with the rehabs, forcing these people out of their homes. But if it was R-rated, this could have been a really strong opening sequence with the rehabs like gunning down people, shooting them with like blood squibs. You could have some of the rehabs actually taking advantage of some of the women and like raping them, which is messed up and and disturbing. But I think that would be a good setup to show just how deplorable these fucking guys are. And I think that's what Frank Miller had in mind with his initial draft or concept for RoboCop 3. And as demented as that is, I actually think it's a good setup for an opening of RoboCop 3 to really make you despise and just loathe these rehabs and want to see RoboCop shoot them in the dick and in the face at the same time. But it's PG-13, so you can't really get the same impact. It could have looked like an absolute war zone. You could have stuff where they, like I said, they shoot people, leave them for dead, rape and pillage the homes. And then if you have a moment like this with, you know, CCH Pounder, that could be a little more epic, because there's just so much more weight to everything, because it's not PG-13. Doesn't feel like it's an episode of RoboCop the series. Which in theory, I mean, this kind of approach would work okay with RoboCop the series, but I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it'll work. It clearly doesn't work. I don't think it works with a feature film. It makes things feel too small. Plus, I think that would have been really interesting to have seen what Fred Dekker would have done with an R rating. Here we have Nico, played by Remy Ryan, I think is her name. I don't really care for this character. And there's her RoboCop toy, which is rather fitting, because the first time you see RoboCop is him just flat on his ass or just doing nothing. And that's fitting, because that's what he does most of the time during this movie. Also, it's insulting to have RoboCop 3 start with the only shots of RoboCop being of a toy. You're like, where the hell is RoboCop? I get they're trying to establish something in terms of the plot. They're trying to build things up for RoboCop's entrance, but they're taking way too long. If I remember correctly, it's like 10 minutes. You have the stuff with the rehabs moving the people out of their homes. You have these freedom fighters going to OCP trying to get some supplies, and it is not like it's anything that's really that exciting or fun because you barely know anything about these characters at this point. So they don't even give you any depth to these characters in terms of character building stuff. So there's no reason to give a shit except for maybe the kid. But I don't really give a shit about the kid, period. It's like the screenwriters just assume I'll give a shit about the kid because it's a kid. Also, there's the Ed 209, which, man, they do that. They do poor Ed dirty here. But yeah, you get some Phil Tippett stop motion. Still looks great. I'll give the film that. This bit here, though, is insulting. I mean, really. I mean, I understand that Ed 209 was already made into a bit of a joke in the first film, how it couldn't even go down the stairs. But it's not that kind of shit. He'll be loyal as a puppy. That's just embarrassing. Embarrassing. It's just fucking pathetic. Jesus. Fucking whiz kid over here. Miss do everything, do it all. That's the other thing about this character, just makes her so boring. Like, she's not only an annoying kid, but she also has this annoying penchant to be able to just do anything with a computer. Yeah, they're trying to steal stuff from the police armory. Why should I give a shit? Why should I care? Also, they're thieves. I mean, yeah, you had her say, fight for your homes, but I mean, this is the RoboCop universe. You know, who knows? She could be pulling a con or something. All right, okay, blow up the door. I'm gonna go to the armory now, steal some guns. What was that reaction by CCH Bounder? Just like, yeah, I guess. What? There's all these guns, and it's a PG-13 film, so it's not like any of them are really going to be put to use in an exciting, memorable way. Compare this opening sequence, for instance, to the opening action scene in RoboCop 2. First off, they didn't wait this long to showcase RoboCop. Yeah, get that. Only because we're going to use it later. Not because it looks expensive. But, yeah, compare this to the opening sequence of RoboCop 2 with the guys breaking into a shop, stealing guns. That makes it even more upsetting because it's the same shit. They're breaking into some place and they're stealing guns and weapons, just like in the opening of RoboCop 2. But it's not R-rated, it's not exciting, and it's not awesome. I mean, even the stuff with that 209 here, like, just watered down. Wussy. Wussy shit. Just shooting up a police car. Remember what that 219 dude did to Kinney in RoboCop? Turned him into paste. Or just shoots a police car. I will make a note of this, and I'll probably mention this numerous times throughout this commentary. This score by Basil Polidoris is pretty damn good. One of the best things about this movie. Oh, here we go. Here's the guy from the For Crying Out Loud segment in Tales from the Crypt. You know, the one where he plays the rock manager who is hearing Sam Kinison in his head. I would much rather be watching that episode right now instead of RoboCop 3. And of course, you have this whole bit where all the cops are at the donut shop. It's an old gag. It's as old as time. Here we have Officer Lewis, Nancy Allen, completely wasted in this movie. Apparently, according to Nancy herself, contrary to popular rumor, she did not do this because of the fact that her character was going to die. She didn't know that Anne Lewis was going to die in this movie. She found that out after the fact. That being said, I mean, maybe she could have put her foot down a little bit more. Maybe she could have fought a little harder for the character not to die. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't really blame Nancy Allen that much. I mean, her performance is not the best, but she's given jack shit to work with, so I don't have much to say. I will say, once again, Basil is trying as hard as he fucking can to make this shit work. I know his presence was definitely missing in RoboCop 2. As much as I like that film, I think that score isn't quite on the same level as Basil's work in the first film, let alone this movie. And if they did a better job, like I said earlier, they did a better job giving a little more depth to these freedom fighter characters. You know, these homeless guys, this group of homeless people who want to, fight for people's homes and whatever. Then maybe this would have a little more tension, but there's nothing. There's no reason to. So it's just dull and boring. There hasn't been a single exciting moment of action in the entire first like 10 minutes or so. Finally, after all this time, finally you get a shot of RoboCop, but it's just his visor. Here we have a fun little cameo. This is James Lorenz, who was in Frankenhooker. That was like one of the best scenes in the movie, just because James Lorenz is in it. Honestly, I would have liked the film more if you had James Lorenz in it more. Somehow get him involved with the plot, have him in the movie more, enable him to, you know, say some one-liners, do some stuff. But nope, nah. Just says a line, Lewis cusses him out, and that's it. Splatterpunks. This is another. And there it goes. there goes the most entertaining, fun actor in the entire movie. Great. Another reason why I hate this movie. It had good potential there, have James Lorenz involved more considerably, and then, nope, just shoot him. And these splatter punks they are lame as hell. This is another reason why the PG-13 rating was a mistake. If this was R-rated, then you could have the splatterpunks do more stuff that actually fits the term splatter. You know, splatter is a term that was commonly used for, like, gory movies. You know, splatter films. And this is PG-13. There's not much splattering or gore, brains, guts, or anything by the splatterpunks or anyone else. So something like this that could maybe be kind of scary, could maybe be kind of intense. Cops and Lewis by themselves against these group of vicious punks. Instead, it just looks a bunch of, you know, posers. Punk band posers. And they got these, like, they got guns and these little pokey things. And they look like they could be intimidating, possibly. And then you have this stuff with RoboCop taking his sweet ass time, which this is just an overly complicated setup to try to make RoboCop look cool. Like, why are you know Lewis is in danger, right? Why are you taking all this fucking extra time to go up to the top of the park structure and then, like, change your arm attachment? It's the kind of thing that in theory seems kind of cool, but in reality it's just fucking silly. Ruins his patrol car. Oh my god. RoboClod. I like the gun arm. That's another thing that's completely neutered because of the PG-13. Can you imagine that scene if this was R and he's firing that thing? And yeah, no. Yeah, I called for somebody to unclog all the shit that this movie is full of. Catching bullets. What was that scream? Oh my god, he sounds like he's brain damaged. What the fuck is this? What is this, outtakes from the Double Dragon movie? This epic music by Basil deserves it so much better than this shit. They only have this scene to explain why RoboCop looks like Robert John Burke. But I find it funny because it's pointless. Because earlier, you already saw him pop out of the top of the patrol car like a Jack in the Box. And you saw his face. You saw multiple zoom-ins of his face. So, we already know it's not Peter Weller. So why are you going this extra length? It's just utterly pointless. And speaking of Robert John Burke has been better in other things, but not here. Robert John Burke in this proves that RoboCop is more than just a guy in a suit. Orion made the mistake thinking that RoboCop could be just played by anybody. That Peter Weller didn't mean as much to the role, and the answer is just undeniable to me that that is not even remotely close to the truth. Weller brought a certain humanity, which I find funny because I remember I read something where they said they cast Robert John Burke because of the fact that he brought humanity to this role. And that just makes me crack up because I'm like, really? You cast Robert John Burke to play RoboCop in RoboCop 3 because he brought humanity to the role. He does the opposite of that. He comes across way more robotic than Weller did. Weller had a way to show a soul behind the machine with not a lot of movements, not a lot of dialogue, just with the way that he carried himself inside the suit. And Robert John Burke isn't nearly as good of an actor as Peter Weller, and he also just doesn't have the same ability. Incompetent Americans, that's right. Yeah, you're fat and lazy. Yeah, they were. Orion was. Yeah, that's true. There was more than money at stake with this entry in this franchise. And they didn't make any money either. Louder competitors laugh. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Orion's actions brought shame upon the RoboCop franchise. Here you have Rip Torn hamming it up so much as this chairman that he might as well be the whole ham. Not just a slice, not just a chunk. He's the whole fucking ham. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea either. This is just dull. Yeah, we want to see OCP be financially devastated and lose the old man. Have this other guy come in and run the company while it's falling apart at the seams. Jesus fucking Christ, Rip Torn. I mean, why isn't Johnson the lead? Why isn't Johnson the new head of OCP? Why does it have to be Rip Torn, a character that they just pulled out of their ass? Why isn't it just Johnson? You got Bradley Whitford playing a sniveling weasel, like always. Good grief. Oh, great. Let's make it even worse. Now here's Evil Steve Martin again. Why don't you go shoot the Jerk 3? Yeah, corporate espionage and back and forth stuff with corporate politics. It's exactly what you want with a RoboCop film, right? You wanted more business scenes, right? What a waste of Mako, too. Ah, Bruce Locke. He was cast in this role as Otomo because Fred Decker felt that he looked like an action figure. Really? That's why he was cast in this role. And to be honest, Bruce Locke, he's not really the problem. It's not a bad casting choice to play a robot ninja. It's everything else. What the hell is up with the guy dragged with the lollipop? Was that in the script? Or is that just something that they just... What the fuck? That is one of the random ass scenes in the entire franchise. Why was that in there? Was that something they came up with on the fly? I'm really curious about that. Next time I talk to Fred Decker, I should straight up ask him, like, what is up with that? Did you write that in the script? Yeah, you sure have. When you were played by Peter fucking Weller. So, Robert John Burke, he sucks in this. But I really do feel that they should have went with Richard Eden. Richard Eden went on to play RoboCop in RoboCop the series, and RoboCop the series is not a masterpiece. It has its problems. Some episodes are definitely better than others, but the best episodes of that show are 10 times better than this piece of shit sequel. And Richard Eden, from what I've seen, he is the best RoboCop since Peter Weller, because he actually studied Peter Weller. He studied Peter Weller's mannerisms. He actually put an effort into seeing what Peter Weller did to make that character work, and he implemented a lot of that. So that's why I think Richard Eden should have been in this movie too. And then it would have been an even smoother transition to RoboCop the series, because I firmly believe one of the reasons why Orion sanitized and neutered RoboCop 3 is because of the fact that they were going to do a TV show. Why not just have Richard Eden then? Still suck, but at least RoboCop wouldn't suck so much. Well, he would still suck because of all the things that he settled to do. Spend most of the time getting knocked flat on his ass, saying cringe-inducing one-liners, but, you know, at least the performance would be better. Now, I might as well take the time here to talk about Jill Hennessy, who plays Dr. Lazarus. I actually think she did a great job in this. I actually think she delivered a better performance than Nancy Allen, and I think she's one of the few bright spots in RoboCop 3. Is Jill Hennessy, is Dr. Lazarus. Bradley Whitford is also a good sniveling weasel prick. So you want him to be predictable. Basically, let's go back to square one again. Mess around with his programming, give him directives. We already went through all that. That already happened in the first film. It already happened in the second movie. I'm trying to do that again here. It's just this whole scene that's coming up, I think, where he starts having like flashbacks and whatever. I think it's not this scene. It's actually a scene later on that they used like what was state of the art CGI back then. But this scene apparently in the chair, I looked it up. Fred Decker, I guess, is really proud of this scene. I guess I could kind of get it. You got a good performance by Joe Hennessy. This is kind of where you get some of the most average or adequate acting out of Robert John Burke. You get the flashback stuff to when Murphy was still alive with his family and so on. You get a little bit of that soul. It helps too that you have the same actors who played Murphy's wife in the previous two films in these flashback scenes. Robert Doquey's trying as well, but there's not a whole lot he can do with so little. It is fun to see him though as Sergeant Reed again. You might have noticed already, but RoboCop's look is different than it was in RoboCop 2 because Decker was not a fan of the more blue look that RoboCop had in the second movie, which I get it. I mean, I personally prefer the less blue look, uh, the look that's closer to just regular chrome or steel that's present here. But I also like the look in RoboCop 2. It's funny though, the action figures for RoboCop 3, they tended to have a little bit more of that blue tint, which I find kind of funny. Like RoboCop doesn't look anything like he does in the film when it comes to like the tie-in action figures. Doesn't feel the same without Weller. And you could already tell that Robert John Burke doesn't have the same chemistry with Nancy Allen. I didn't mind that transition. There are some good technical moments here too at times. I mean, to be fair, Decker's direction isn't hot flaming garbage. I think he had some ideas that were pretty trashy or bad enough they should have been thrown in the trash. He wanted the film to have like more Hong Kong style kung fu fights and action like a John Woo movie. And I'm like, how are you going to do that with a PG-13? Also at the same time, how are you going to do that with RoboCop? That just sounds like a bad fit. And then on top of that, I guess I'll save this little nugget of information for the climax. But yeah, yeah, I don't want this piece of shit sequel either. There's this thing citing. They're just gonna give him a citation. Oh, I'm not going to ask politely next time. It's like, the hell? Like, you go from Boddicker and Dick Jones and Kane to fucking evil Steve Martin and his gang of assholes. Yeah, like this fucking entire movie is a mistake. Even that sounds terrible. And here you go. And Lewis is dead. And that should be a scene that, you get a lot of emotional impact out of, but you feel nothing. They did such a awful job. They did such a atrocious, shitty job writing the script. And then there's this shit. He gets hit with one grenade to the chest, and he's out of action, essentially. Robo gets hit once with a grenade, and he's fucked. I'm like, what? Look at his damage alert. It's like 72%. It's going down by the second. Just because he got hit once in the chest with a grenade. He fought RoboCane and RoboCop 2 and fell off a fucking skyscraper to the ground below and was still operating and still running at decent enough efficiency. Gets hit once in the chest with a grenade and he's fucked up. There's just so many things about this film that is a flop. Like I said at the beginning of this commentary and the lead up, there's so many elements of this script that are just a total flop and a total fail. And this is one of them, sadly, with Lewis's death. Not the best lines. Also, to be honest, not the best performance by Nancy Allen here. And then you got Robert John Burke and his just non-acting, stone-faced, no emotion. That's his partner. In a lot of ways, someone that Murphy genuinely loves. Like family. And there's nothing. There's no emotion. Because Robert John Burke just sucks so much ass in this role. Like Nancy Allen's performance wasn't great, but if Peter Weller was the one doing that scene, because of the fact that he's this tremendous actor, that would have been a much more effective sequence. Just because of the fact that you would have Peter Weller doing it. It's totaled. Man. I mean, Lewis dying too also makes this film even harder to watch because of the fact that it's already a depressing, boring movie at this point with no action in it that is even remotely memorable or exciting. RoboCop is barely even in the movie, and when he does show up, he barely does anything. He just shot around McDaggett's feet. Oh, because he can't because of the directives. Because we have the directives again. This fucking lazy script. And now RoboCop's he's in this fucking sewer, which is sad. This is where the franchise is. It's in the sewer with all the shit, in the piss, in the rats. Ha ha. This scene coming up with RoboCop when he falls down. It's coming. No, he's not. Nah. Just fall face first in shit and piss. That's exactly the perfect way to encapsulate where RoboCop is now as a character, and also where he was when this film came out and was unleashed upon audiences in 1993. It was held back for 2 years. Maybe we should have just left this fucking shit on the shelf. But then again, at the same time, maybe I might not have ever discovered RoboCop when I was a kid without this. But I probably would have eventually discovered the character and would have eventually fell in love with it either way, because the first two films are so awesome and badass. So eventually that would have happened even if this film didn't exist. So I think would have been okay with it not have being released. One less piece of shit sequel that's a stain on a franchise. That's a positive. But I know there are some people who say that this is better than RoboCop 2, which I don't understand it at all. I don't know why anyone would be like, yeah, this boring ass bullshit is way better than RoboCop 2 with RoboCane and an R rating and Peter Weller as RoboCop and a million times more action sequences. I mean, you have more scenes with the fucking red stapler guy right here from The Office in terms of screen time than you do with RoboCop. That's what it feels like. Just wants his red stapler back. By the way, it's Office Space. It's not The Office. I think I said I haven't seen either one of those in a while. Hey, look, it's my company. Hey, I'm calling you. Oh no, it's not me. It's that fucking guy. He interrupted the call. I mean, I'd love to call Jill Hennessy. Shut the fuck up, McNugget. Nobody wants to see your ass. Go away. Go dip yourself in some fucking barbecue sauce. Drown your fucking ass in it. Yeah, Bradley Whitford. He does a good job playing a good prick. Yes, it is. The movie is that bad. It's that fucking bad. You're watching it right now. He did the right move. He made the right move there. He's like, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. I don't want to be in this fucking movie anymore. It's like, I don't fucking blame you, man. I really don't. Like, if I could just pause this shit, stop it, not watch the rest, and stop the commentary and just be like, fuck this shit, I'm out, I'd be all for it. But no, can't do that. I gotta stay here for the long haul. I gotta suffer. I hope you guys are having fun with the commentary though. That makes the pain worth it. So you have this robot ninja character here, played by Bruce Locke. If for some reason I couldn't say words clearly anymore. This is what happens. I'm watching RoboCop 3 and it's killing brain cells already. Uh, it's affecting my motor functions. Um, but yeah, Bruce Locke, he's playing the robot ninja. Here's the thing with the robot ninja concept. In theory, not a bad idea. Another one of those instances where it's not a bad idea in theory. It's just how it's executed. Speaking of executed, now we're gonna lose Bradley Whitford's character. Now Fleck's gonna take himself out of the movie. Which, what is up with this script? Just wasting so many of the characters that show any potential. Fleck's a good weasel. And now he's fucking dead, and now he's out of the movie, and now we've lost another one of the few positives in the film. You had James Lorenz, shot him, Fleck, Bradley Whitford shoots himself in the head. But Rip Torn, yeah, we'll stay with his hammy ass for way too long. And of course, we have Robert John Burke as Robo Claude, who's slower than molasses, which you will see later. This is where the film's trying to tug at your heartstrings. But it's so manipulative. It's there's no subtlety. There's nothing about it that really feels, I guess, genuine. Because like I said, they did a bad job building all of this up. I think you should have had a scene in the beginning of the film with these homeless folks, or with these folks in their homes, not just showing Nico and her family, but showing all these other families. And then you have the rehabs come in like they're marauders, like barbarians. And then they come in and just wreck their homes and wreck their lives and pillage and ravage and kill. And then they retreat underground. That would be better. But no, no, can't do that. I mean, technically, you could have done something like that with a PG-13 rating. It seems like they're trying to do that in the beginning, but it was just shitty. It's just crap. It's as bad as Robert John Burke's acting. Once again, my fucking motor functions, man. Look at stumbling over words, like Robert John Burke stumbles around in the RoboCop suit. We got Nico, super whiz kid. I don't know why they felt that, what RoboCop is missing a cute kid who could be like a sidekick to Robo, so the kids can see themselves in this character. And I'm like, that's not what this franchise fucking needed. No one who is a fan of RoboCop was like, yeah, I want a cute whiz kid who's an ace with computers who becomes best friends with RoboCop. Like, no, nobody was asking for that. So this is your first action scene with the robot ninja. This is another one of those things where if you had an R rating, this could be potentially badass. But it's PG-13, so it's just cartoon level violence that has no impact, no weight to it. And that doesn't help either. You do this shit. This is fucking laughable. You just killed it. You killed the robot ninja right there. You just made him look like a fucking dumbass. It looks fucking stupid as hell. Looks like some shit you might see in Pee-wee's Playhouse. And he had the map there. Why the fuck did he have the map there? The guy has a map of his own underground hiding spot. Who the fuck carries a map of a hidden spot? Yeah, we're hiding from OCP, but yeah, I'm gonna carry this map on me that could conveniently tell OCP or whoever is looking for us exactly where we are. Is the vehicle a fucking hearse so we can carry your ass away in a coffin? Because that's where RoboCop is right now. He's fucking dead. His franchise is dead. RoboCop is dead. And the biggest reason why RoboCop as a franchise got put on a fucking slab is because of this movie that has scenes where RoboCop is on a fucking slab, laying on his fucking back like he is fucking dead or even deader. And he's ready for an open casket funeral. You already did that joke. 23% after one hit to the chest? You got like blown up by the Ed 209's rockets and shot multiple times. You had better efficiency after all that in the first movie. Did Fred Decker and the writers not watch the first two films before they wrote this? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because I've noticed that happens way more often when it comes to the writing for sequels. Oh yay, the movie's over! Woo! Oh damn it! Damn it! Fuck. Still have to watch more of this shit. Ha 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 ha! Look, he's fucking with RoboCop. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Hey, you're gonna make a PG-13 RoboCop? Don't do it. Okay, alright, we're deleting all the directives again. Here we have the scene that uses state-of-the-art computer-generated imagery from the 90s. State-of-the-art, folks! And it's aged about as well as expired milk. I always felt this is just a laughable scene with the morphing and whatever. I mean, what is this, a Michael Jackson video for Man in the Mirror? Oh my god, it's Circuitry Man! That's a joke that most people listening to this commentary will not get. But for those few of you who are aware of Circuitry Man, that one was for you. Here's another heart tugging scene that's schmaltzy and ineffective. Yeah, remind me of the first film. Not a smart move. Oh man, oh my god, Kurtwood Smith and Boddicker and all those other memorable characters. Man, I sure wish I was watching that movie instead of this slop. And like Remy Ryan isn't even that good of an actress either. Like it's not a likable character. Her performance isn't that good either. And then coupled with Robert John Burke and his just miserable attempts to show emotion and just how manufactured the schmaltziness of it is. Weller would have shown emotion that would have actually felt like he was sad. Robert Sean Burke looked like he just sharded his pants earlier. Oh wow. Oh my god, it's so cute, right? RoboCop and this little girl, and they sympathize with each other because of the loss that they've experienced. At the same time, I'm like, he just he just told, oh my god, I'm glad your new heart works. Fucking hell. You're like the Grinch, his heart grew 3 sizes that day. But what I was trying to talk about before that just cringe line. I'm glad your new heart works. Um, I don't know why Nico was not more upset when RoboCop told her that her parents were dead. He's like, your parents are dead. And she's like, oh, okay. Her parents are fucking dead. And her reaction is like, oh, all right, whatever. Let me curl up on your knee there, Robo, and talk about how much I'm glad that your heart works. Like, you just found out your parents are fucking dead. Like, what kid would react that way? Oh, I guess because there's Christmas music. It's a Christmas movie. Yeah, I don't think anyone would choose to watch this willingly during the holidays. Wow, such a badass. He cut a sign down. This is what I'm saying. Like, if it's R, you could, like, cut the guy up, cut an arm off, decapitate the guy. But all he does is cut a sign down. The flight back, see, once again, my motor skills. They're not motoring properly. I guess it's probably because I was just, I just still can't believe that the flight pack is a fucking thing. As a kid, I thought it was cool. You know, oh, I love the Rocketeer, and now RoboCop also flies. This is awesome. But as an adult, I'm like, this is stupid. Why does he have a flight pack? Oh, to sell toys. That's why. It's so blatantly obvious that they're doing this to try to sell toys. Why else? Oh, I guess the flight pack makes it so he can charge. Okay, I'll give it that. They tried a little harder there. Once again, he's sharding. He's just sharding everywhere. Stop sharding so much, Robert John Burke. No wonder they had to go through so many suits in this movie. Because Robert John Burke kept shitting his pants. Jeez. Even the one-liners are lame. Unfinished business. You called for backup? Oh, you think that those one-liners are lame? Just wait, folks. It gets worse. It's fucking dumb. Yeah, Ghost Cop. Yeah, blah. Do you have a good movie? No? And what's funny is, I actually would rather see all of those cop movies than RoboCop 3. Oh god. There was another bad long one-liner. You may want to call the fire department. Allow me, scum. He's got a flamethrower. Awesome. It's PG fucking 13. Such a waste. You have RoboCop with a gun arm, with a flamethrower, a rocket launcher, a fucking minigun, and it's PG 13. Shit is right. This is so shitty. Lame. Yeah, where's Evil Steve Martin? Whom they cast over Tom fucking Atkins. Why? I still can't. I'm sorry, folks. I can't. I'm like, why? You have Tom Atkins in one hand, and then you have Evil Steve Martin in the other. What kind of brain dead moron picks Evil Steve Martin over Tom Atkins? Why does he sound like a robot when all the other conversations with other people on these video chats sounded normal? Sounds like Stephen Hawking. Oh, it's a translation. That's why, because he doesn't speak English. Okay, it took me a bit to get it, but I don't know why he couldn't have just spoke English. I mean, Mako can speak English. Here is a scene coming up where it feels like they were trying to go a little more in an R-rated territory. You know, with the rehabs taking advantage of her. But it's PG-13. Oh my god, stop. You were fine when you said, she said no. And then you had to ruin it. Maybe you have a hearing problem. And then the stupid, you're in violation of curfew. Like, what is up with this shit? I hope you're insured. Better call the fire department. It's like, I don't remember RoboCop ever talking like that prior to this movie. Hey, look, you can see the wires. That's my advice if you decide to watch this fucking movie without a commentary. Just by yourself. Don't. What was that? I guess he saw that one guy, but RoboCop's not an idiot. He's not that slow. Well, normally he isn't. I guess he is in this movie. Why would he automatically think that that one guy who was in the room with McDaggett, even though he saw him in the underground hiding spot, was someone to be trusted? He's with McDaggett. All right. PG-13 pimp. Yeah. That leads to this bit of awesomeness. There's just so many bad things, one after another, in this movie. Could establish the rehabs as something really nasty and just awful, and characters that you want to see get absolutely blown to smithereens. But it's PG-13, so you can't really show much in terms of the extent of their depravity. You have RoboCop saying "don't" as a one-liner. You have RoboCop stealing a pimp mobile. A pink pimp mobile with fuzzy dice. The only thing that's in place is Base of Polar Doris' score. Everything else is so totally out of place. I mean, maybe this sequence might be kind of fun as an action scene if it wasn't so repetitive. You know, Fred chose some different angles for the different shots or the different bits of action. Maybe if RoboCop wasn't driving around in a pink pimp mobile, maybe that maybe that would probably help too. You go from a Harley Davidson motorcycle in RoboCop 2 to a fucking pimp mobile. Yeah, RoboCop's got to stop for the Mighty Ducks. Yeah, where the hell is the real RoboCop? Can he please stand up? There was a definite trend in the 90s of like these super whiz kids who like were just amazingly good at computers for some reason. I don't understand why it was a trend, but it was a trend. Yeah, we need to further carry this fucking plot out. Here come the rehabs. This is another sequence that with an R rating would have more impact. Rehabs come in, start shooting people. God, that line delivery is so terrible. Go! Fuck yourself, movie! But yeah, like I was saying, like if it was R rated, like, you know, they're shooting people, throwing people out windows, burning people alive, you know, doing everything they can to get everybody rounded up or kill them, kill the resistance. When Bertha gets shot, there's more blood squibs. No, it's PG-13, so weak, just limp. They have masks on for like gas, I guess, but they haven't shot any gas yet. I might have missed it, but it didn't seem like they shot any tear gas or anything. They're just wearing gas masks for some reason. Maybe so they can protect themselves from the stench of the film that they're in. If that's the case, you know, gas masks are a good idea. This is another scene that could have had more potential if the script was better. You do a better job establishing the characters of the homeless people, showcasing their lives in their homes before they got forced out. And then you have this, where you have an established character in the franchise in Sergeant Reed who listens to his conscience, and his fellow officers follow suit and refuse to go along with this plan. As it is, it's still an okay scene because of what it represents. But it doesn't have nearly the impact that it could have. Now, the reason why this film sucks, because you have a scene like this, it's just wasted. The animation's kind of fun here. Genre Rehab looks like something on Liquid Television on MTV. You can definitely tell that RoboCop the series was inspired by this for Commander Cash. But it's not that funny. Fun idea, but not that funny. This like this scene absolutely it is. This entire movie is bullshit, and I know I'm not buying it. And not very many people bought it, period. Because the film flopped when it came out in 1993. But I do admit I get a bit of a smirk out of OCP going as far to paint RoboCop as a nun murderer. That's dark. That kind of taps into some of the dark comedy that I was a fan of in the first two films. But then we cut directly to a newscaster picking his nose. Because, for kids, right? They're going to laugh. He picked his nose. He wiped a booger. He took a boogie out of his nose. Like, what? That's what we're resorting to? You have that bit of cleverness with OCP going way overboard, trying to paint RoboCop as a killer, having him killing nuns in a church, and then newscaster picking his nose. Just Jesus. Fuck this movie, man. Did he say this is a pig stick? This is a pig stick to all greens. I get it. I get the setup to have the splatterpunks work with rehabs, but they're fucking drug addicts. Like, why would they work with them? Like, even for money, I guess maybe for money for more drugs, but at the same time, like, how could they even be remotely reliable for any sort of plan? They're so high out of their minds. They don't even know where they are, let alone know where to go. But they got to set something up for a battle between the rebels and former cops versus the splatterpunks and the rehabs. And this is all stuff that if it was written better, if you had an R rating, then some of this stuff might be strong. But it's PG fucking 13, so there's not much you can really do in terms of. I mean, that's great to see Robert Dupuy have a moment, but it's wasted. There's just so many things that are wasted in this because they're flops. They fail. Speaking of flop, RoboCop's about to flop on his ass again soon. Because that's all he seems to fucking do in this movie. That sad, slow version of the RoboCop theme. That doesn't make me sad because the underground home for these homeless people was destroyed. Makes me sad because of what has happened to this franchise. What has happened to this character. And what's going to happen to him right now. Look at this. Robot Ninja shows up, kicks him in the face. He gets up. Kicked again. It doesn't even try to block it. Doesn't even try to get out of the way. Just once again, kicked in the fucking face like he's a fucking fool. And then he's doing this shit. Like, why do you even bother to do that, Robo? Identify yourself. It's like, he's trying to kill you. Why are you still acting like this? Also, your directives were taken away. So why are you acting like you're still programmed? Should you be acting more like Murphy? That's the other thing, too, I don't get. Destruction of police property. Look at this fucking embarrassing ass shit. First time he faces off against Otomo and gets his ass handed to him. Easily. He doesn't even get a shot in until later, if I remember correctly. Actually, I don't even think he gets a shot in here. He has his first battle with Otomo. He doesn't get a shot in until later when he fights him again. And even then, he has to have help. So in his own fucking movie, RoboCop can't even defeat the Robot Ninja by himself. That's atrocious. That's pathetic and atrocious at the same time. Term I invented a long time ago. Haven't used it a lot, but it fits here. That's fucking atrocious. In RoboCop 3, in his own movie, he spends the majority of it getting his ass handed to him. And not being the badass that RoboCop is. Just look at this shit. Once again, no answers. Look at this fucking atrocious shit. Knocked on his ass again. Is that like the third or fourth time in this one scene alone? I think he's been knocked on his ass at least 7 times already in this movie. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he does get a shot in here. After he's been knocked on his ass. It's still atrocious. Okay, he got a shot in. He won the battle. But it was lame. And that doesn't forgive the majority of the time during the fight. He was getting his ass kicked. don't buy it. I don't buy evil Steve Martin. I don't. Now, if it was Tom Atkins and he told me to sit down, I'd sit the fuck down. I don't know about you. Yeah, hilarious. God. Hey, that's the other OCP. I'm honest. I'm an honest guy, folks. I don't lie to you. I'm not lying when I say this film fucking sucks. If you had a better script, if you showed RoboCop, I don't know, at least kicking a little ass prior to this scene. Like, I'm okay with RoboCop showing vulnerability. He's done that in other two films. But the way that they did it here, he just looked pathetic. He looked like a wimp. So you never really have a moment where it seems like, oh, okay, now it's on. Because you never really saw him kick any ass to begin with. Not at least in a memorable way. So if you had moments where he was kicking ass and taking names in a memorable fashion prior to him getting his ass kicked by Otomo, and then him just barely surviving the initial encounter with the robot ninja, that might be okay. I might be all right with that. Because RoboCop, like I said, he's shown vulnerability in the past, but they fucked it up. He's just been nothing but vulnerable. He spent the majority of the film being on his ass or sucking ass. So it doesn't even feel like as cool of a scene as it could be. Because yeah, this scene should be one of those moments where it's like, oh, whoa, oh shit, RoboCop's gonna kick some serious ass now. Like, oh, he's got the jetpack, and I think Phil Tippett did a decent job with the effects. But even this, like, it's so short. He blew up the tank. That's it. He blows up the tank. It's like less than a minute of RoboCop in the jetpack. Like, oh, fly up, fly around. I'm gonna wave. I'm gonna shoot these guys. And I'm gonna wave. I mean, it's just such a letdown. All that build up. Bye. For like 30 seconds. Seems like. Like, what? Why are you so excited? Why are you so pumped about that? He just flew in, blew up a tank, shot some guys, waved bye-bye. And that's it. As a kid, I have to admit, I thought that was really cool. As an adult, the more times I see that scene, I'm like, that is lame. Barely does anything. You were ruined beforehand. More Basil music that is just awesome, great, and just completely, totally wasted in this shitty movie. You don't deserve to say that line, Robert John Burke. There's fucking Robot Ninja again. You would think that might be enough to take it out, right? Nope. It's still there, and there's another one. Like, you would think, okay, we have two Robot Ninjas now. Now RoboCop's gonna take them both out by himself. Like a badass. Make up for, the mistake of making him look like a clod during their first confrontation. No. No, this is RoboCop 3 we're talking about. Not badass? No, all you get is shit that sucks ass or is lame ass. That's what you get with RoboCop. There's nothing badass about RoboCop in this movie. See, once again, on his ass. Is that like the 8th time? I don't know what these writers are thinking. Like, did they deliberately choose to make RoboCop look the worst as possible? I just did they just want to sabotage the entire franchise deliberately? I just don't understand the thought process. Because here, RoboCop, look, he's on his ass. He didn't do anything. The fucking kid did all the shit. The kid is the one that took out the robots. RoboCop was just on his ass again. God. Oh my god. The cringe is so strong with that line. It makes you die inside. I died inside. Don't count on it, chum. What is this, a 60s Batman show? No, it's fucking RoboCop. Oh, speaking of this whole OCP building, this is where I want to tell you Fred Decker's original plan. What he wanted was for the building to grow arms and legs and be like a fucking transformer. Like that skyscraper toy in Big? The one that's like a building, but then is a robot? Well, that's what he wanted in the climax of this movie. Fred, what, were you fucking out of your mind when you were writing this? Like, what happened? I mean, you wrote Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps, two great films for what they are. Really great, solid stuff. And you wrote this, and then all of the talent, all of the skill that you showcased in those two previous scripts just vanished into thin air? You're just writing Saturday morning cartoon bullshit? All right, let's get this over with. Let's provide our TV series pilot ending here. You know what's crazy when I'm talking about cartoons? There was a RoboCop cartoon that came out prior to this movie in the 80s. And it was better than this. Friends call me Murphy. You call me RoboCop. No, more like RoboFlop. God, what the fuck happened, Fred? Yeah. Oh my god. What a piece of shit. So, yeah, that ending, it's like, what? Like, Murphy has never, ever called himself RoboCop. But going back to the cartoon series, even the episode where RoboCop gets a fucking cold was better than this entire movie. I mean, hell, I don't know. Maybe I might take Alpha Commando over this shit. And RoboCop was turned into Inspector Gadget in that cartoon series. But man, that was rough. That was a rough watch. That was hard to sit through again. And as you can hear, once again, you have Basil Polidoris just working his ass off. This is a good score. Just isn't it a good movie? And it's just insane to me how so many things didn't work about this. It's like, in theory, the concept of the rehabs, not a bad idea. Some of the other ideas and concepts in the film, not necessarily bad. Fred Dekker is not necessarily a bad choice for a director. We did a good job with some comic book style R-rated violence and Tales from the Crypt episodes. We did Night of the Creeps and the Monster Squad, but it just wasn't a good fit here. And it's sad. It really is. Like, you go from RoboCop to RoboCop 2 to this. I can't think of another franchise that had such a stupendous, epic fall from grace with the third film in the franchise than RoboCop 3. I guess Alien 3. Sorry, Alien 3 is the other one. Alien 3 is honestly probably worse, because you started to see some cracks form in RoboCop 2, where Alien 3, that was after Aliens, where it was almost as perfect as you could even remotely expect a film or a sequel to be. And then you get Alien 3, which arguably was a bit of a bigger fuck you than this to the fans, but this is still a pretty massive fuck you to fans of RoboCop. Takes away the hyper-violence, takes away the fun, scathing satire, takes away a lot of the elements that made the first two films so strong and so fun to watch. Replaces it with so much generic bullshit. And also on top of that, it takes RoboCop himself, neuters him, cuts his balls off, and makes him look like a fool and a clod in his own film. So, yeah. Man. It sucks, because I like this character. I like this franchise. And just to see it turn into this in front of my eyes again, it's such a depressing, demoralizing sit. But the score, fucking fantastic. Stupendous. I love this shit right here. Rest in peace, Basil. Thank you for at least trying. You tried. You tried so hard to bring something good to this piece of shit. And in some ways you did succeed, because it is a good score. But even you at your best couldn't save this. I mean, it also even fucks up robot ninjas. You know how easy of a concept that is to pull off and make cool? And this film even manages to fuck that up. It fucks up RoboCop. It fucks up robot ninjas. It fucked up the entire franchise. It foobarred everything. Fucked up beyond all recognition. Man. And Weller being there wouldn't have saved it, because it had so many other issues with the script. It would have made it better. Gotta be honest. And I don't think Peter Weller would have necessarily been too fond of the PG-13. I think he would have, because he's a very intellectual sort of guy, and he knows. I think he's very aware of how important the harder rating is to RoboCop, and I think he probably would have pleaded to the studio to be like, "Hey, no, we're not doing that. It's got to be R-rated. Trust me." And then since it's Peter Weller, star of the franchise, Orion would listen. But they're not going to listen to Robert John Burke. They're not going to listen to Fred Decker. But yeah, wow. RoboFlop 3. Um, yeah, I mean they did still do the TV series after this, and it's not that. It's actually better than you think. I have to be honest. It's better than you think it is. Than you might think it would be. A hell of a lot better than this. Even the pilot is a million times better than this. Because the PG-13 sort of stuff, the lack of ultra violence, it's acceptable in a TV series. In a feature film, you're like, there's no excuse. None whatsoever. Just like there was no excuse to just fuck things up this badly with RoboCop 3. But, you know, that's Orion for you. So, that was my ranting commentary on RoboCop 3. Yeah, what a fail. What a epic fail of a sequel. Yeah, it tanked in the box office. Critics didn't care for it for good reason. Although there were some critics at the time, like Candy Taylor, whoever the hell that is, who said it was better than the first. But despite some people thinking incredulously that it was better than the first movie, no, it didn't do nearly as well. It did. I think it did decent on home video, but that's not really what Orion needed. Orion needed big money fast because they were treading water, and that didn't happen with this movie. They thought they were going to be able to save themselves with RoboCop 3 or the RoboCop franchise. Even the TV series didn't do as well in the ratings. It only lasted one season, and pretty soon after, like, Orion went under. And what's crazy, Orion, because of all their decisions and just not being patient and being hasty with things, they lost out on other franchises. They had the rights to the Addams Family, for instance. They were the original company behind the Addams Family movie, but then they went bankrupt, and then they couldn't do it anymore. So then someone else had to come in and reap the rewards and the benefits. So yeah, it's crazy that Orion, the company that released the Terminator and RoboCop and a bunch of other successful films in the 80s, lasted such a short amount of time. It's insane. At least as a major theatrical studio. I know they're technically back now, but like it's not really the same. And when it comes to RoboCop, I mean, there would be a bit of a return to form with the better episodes of RoboCop the series. But not necessarily to the same heights as the first two. It would go back to the gutter and the garbage bin with Alpha Commando, the cartoon series. And then you would get RoboCop Prime Directives with Paige Fletcher, who is way too short to be RoboCop. I like to call him Robo Runt. And that didn't do that well. And then, of course, you have the 2014 remake, RoboCop, which I already did a ranting commentary on. And rumors about another one that have never materialized, and I hope they don't. I really hope they don't. Just let Murphy and RoboCop rest in peace. There's been enough damage done already. And yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to this ranting commentary. And until next time, I'll see you later. And thank you for your cooperation. And have a nice day.